Welcome back to Practical Pathfinder and our Occult spell list deep dive. Here we're going through ranks 2 and 3. Still on the lower levels, Occult as a spell list doesn't quite take off yet till we get a little bit stronger, hit those mid-level tiers. But we got some good picks nonetheless, and some real power picks for specific classes. Witch players, I'm looking at you. So let's strap in and get ready with Practical Pathfinder. Now, you know how I said the Occult list is not good at damage? Well, it's an interesting one. In my findings, the Occult spell list excels at buffs and debuffs on odd ranks and actually has some decent damage options on even ranks. And with that said, you can see we have quite a few options here. Animated Assault is our first good damage spell, really. It's a reflex save that when you sustain it, continues to pulse out and do a little bit of damage every round. This is a great meat grinder or cheese shredder kind of spell. You put in a choke point, put in a doorway, any situation where your team can hold, say, a crowd of zombies or anything stupider into the area. This gets you massive damage over time. Animus Mind is kind of a weird little spell. This is a great wand spell at higher levels. It's a pre-buff you toss on yourself. It lasts like an hour, so you toss it before you enter a room. When someone uses a mental effect on you, it detonates as a reaction and does some damage to them. Hey, it causes some debuffs. That's a nice, essentially free effect once you can throw it out from a wand. And speaking of throwing it out, Blood Vendetta is a great reaction spell that does some persistent damage to an enemy when they cut you. When they do piercing or slashing damage and cut you open, you hit them with this and they take Starkey. And they start taking damage. Not bad, good, nice action efficiency. Speaking of action efficiency, Cutting Insult. This is an uncommon spell, but I had to include it. It's too funny. It's too funny not to. This is uncommon, but it is a will save and it does damage plus frightened. It's essentially a low rank version of the 4th rank spell Visions of Death, which is fantastic. Damage plus debuff, don't mind if I do. Now note, it does require a shared language. This is going to be more useful in games where you fight a lot of people, a lot of intelligent people, and not as useful when you fight a bunch of monsters. Now, if we are fighting monsters though, Noise Blast is an okay area of effect spell. The Fortitude spell does damage in an area. It's okay, but you don't have too many options. So hey, if all you want is pure damage, it's solid. And we're going to get to Thundering Dominance right now, because holy crap. Thundering Dominance is so unique. It is a will save spell that you cast on a companion, be it an animal companion or a familiar. Yes, familiars count as companions. You can use Thundering Dominance on that. Witch players, take this spell if you play Witch. Just do it. It's so good. What this spell does is it does buff your companion's intimidation score, that's good. But what's more important is it allows them later on to roar and do an AoE blast that does really good damage and also applies Frightened 1. That's some massive double duty. This is one of the best 2nd rank attack spells in the game, and it's on the Occult list, which is not good at attacking. If you're a witch, take this and you'll get a huge power spike at level 3. Oh yeah, definitely love that. If you're not a witch, you don't have a familiar or animal companion to risk, let's just take Vomit Swarm. Vomit Swarm is also solid. It's a reflex save, 30-foot cone, nice big area of effect. It does okay damage, and if they fail their save, apply Sickened 1. Mixing damage and a debuff is about as good as it gets in this game, and the Occult list tends to do lower damage, but pretty good debuffs on its damage spells. This is our first real one for that with Vomit Swarm. But don't go thinking we don't have good buff spells in rank 2. Ooh, we got some real strong picks. False Vitality is okay. Yeah, strong picks. This one's okay. False Vitality gives you extra temp hit points. Having more health is never bad. For that reason, I think this is a great spell for wands, or when you don't need the spell slots anymore because you're high level. Even a little bit of temporary HP is worth keeping around. Hey, that's a free shield, you know what I mean? And Ghostly Carrier is a really good spell for anyone who likes touch spells. This allows you to use touch range spells way out there. So, psychic players, if you want to use imaginary weapon or a melee range ignition and really just blow the enemy up, but you don't want to risk your low HP butt to do so, Ghostly Carrier is the trick. Goblin Pox from rank 1, insanely powerful. What if we could do it at range? That's what this spell does. You got to set it up, you got to find a combo, but it does pay out pretty darn well. And speaking of paying out, invisibility is a classic. Always good. Always good, dude. It's invisibility. What else is there to say? You go invisible. And it lasts 10 minutes. Now, at rank 2, it breaks if you do an offensive action. This is not a combat spell. Toss this on your rogue or your stealthy thief character and let them sneak ahead and scout out places or infiltrate an area. And ooh. Nothing better. Nothing better. If you do want a combat spell, take Loose Time Zero, though. This is essentially a one-turn AoE haste. Gives everyone a single free stride, a free move action. That's unbelievably powerful. That's a huge benefit and power boost at, well, a single spell. That's a quick payoff. This is a spell that gets better the more party members you have. You only have 3 party members, not that great. 4, pretty good. 5 or 6, unbelievable. And Resist Energy is a classic useful spell whenever you enter a themed zone. You entering an ice palace or a magma cave, maybe bring Resist Energy, because you know there's going to be a lot of themed enemies using a specific element of damage. It upcasts very well, it scales well, starts hitting multiple targets, and resisting a lot more damage. But it's good even at low ranks when it's used. It's kind of situational. And similar is See the Unseen. This is See Invisibility. It lets you see invisible enemies. That has a lot of value. Personally, I prefer the debuff Revealing Light for having more versatility. But hey, this is a solid spell, and notably, if you cast it at rank 5, it lasts for 8 hours. If there's some reason that you need this at rank 5, See the Unseen is gonna pay out big. Now, there's some very powerful debuffs at rank 2. You get a lot of options at this point for ways to control the field. Calm is an incapacitation spell. Normally, we avoid recommending these because they're rather specific in their use, better against even-leveled enemies as powerful as you are, or weaker foes and groups of them. But Calm is notable in its power. On a failed save, it just turns off your enemies. They can't take hostile actions. That's wild. Laughing Fit is a silver bullet spell, incredibly valuable. It is a will save and sustain, so you have to keep spending actions every round to keep it going, but it turns off your enemies' reactions, and if they fail the save, become slowed 1, which remains while you sustain it. This is insane because certain enemies are built around having deadly reactions. Some enemies make multiple reactive strikes when you hit them. Some enemies are like Hydras, which can bite the whole team. Things like that. Pull out a scroll of Laughing Fit and just turn them off and make the fight a joke. It's insanely good. Foolish Cravings is kind of risky. It's a touch range spell. Don't bring it on fragile casters like Sorcerer or Psychic. You'll want to be a little bit tougher. But it is one of the few will save spells that applies Sickened 1 or 2. And Sickened is one of the best debuffs because it does not go away unless your enemy spends actions trying to remove it. That is so good. Speaking of good, Revealing Light, another silver bullet. Keep a scroll in the pocket of this bad boy. This is an AoE reflex save that counters invisibility and concealment. You can't find your enemies. If they're invisible, you know what rough area they're in. Slam in a revealing light. Now the team can see them, even if they made their save, and the enemy is dazzled on top. Ooh, that's just a nice little benefit. Stupefy is an interesting spell. It's an anti-caster spell, reducing enemy will saves with the stupefied condition, and imposing a chance for their spells to fail outright when they cast it. If you get that value, it's huge. Downside with Stupefy is casters tend to have good will saves because, they're smart. So hitting them with a will save, can be a little tough sometimes. It's good when you need it, but a little awkward. And Albatross Curse is an insanely good spell. It applies a circumstance bonus to hit. There's a bird flying around your target, and all your friends get a +1 circumstance bonus to hit said target. This is important because it's not a status bonus. Classes such as Bard, in particular, can take this and double stack it with their bardic buff spells for insane benefit. The enemy can choose to spend an action attacking the bird, which does build multiple attack penalty. Nice. And then they make a will save and become either stupefied or gain disadvantage on their next will save. In other words, they have to roll twice and take the worst result on their next will saving throw. This means Albatross Curse is okay at rank 2, but as you level up and have stronger and stronger will save spells, you put the curse on them, you're like, yeah, we'll beat you down, but if you hit this bird, I'm going to just blow you up, dude. You won't stand a chance. It gets even better as you level. As for our utility picks, Illusory Creature is essentially a fake summon spell, but it has a lot of value. You see, a fake creature can still trigger weaknesses. So if you know what your enemy's weakness is, you can make an appropriate creature to trigger that. And if you make sure that the illusory creature, say, shoots flaming or electrified arrows from a safe distance, it's not going to get hit, it's not going to get disbelieved. It's just going to land a lot of extra damage every round. This is a really powerful pick that scales off of your caster DC, so it doesn't fall off with spell ranks as you level up. It's always very solid. Dispel Magic is a great signature spell pick. Dispel Magic is best when you upcast to your highest rank. This is great for turning off enemy buffs, removing debuffs like slow spells and things like that, or just, I don't know, turning off illusions. It has a lot of out of combat use as well. Now note, you can't counter spell with it very well, but you can remove a spell's effects after the fact with this very easily. And Knock it's a thievery buff. This provides a +4 to opening a given door or locker container. +4 is a massive bonus. That is one of the biggest buffs you'll see in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and this is a great scroll spell. Keep one in your pocket if you need to open something absolutely fast and easy. And last, we have the debuff removal suite. 4 spells: Cleanse Affliction, Clear Mind, Sound Body, Sure Footing. Each of these spells counteracts and cleanses different debuffs. But because there's 4 spells, it's a little hard to use, I'm not gonna lie. A little hard to use because, how do you know which one to bring? If you're a sorcerer or a spontaneous caster, it's a little easier. But you're not going to fill every spell slot with all 4 of these. This is really something you take when you know your threat, when you have researched your enemy and you know, oh, this guy paralyzes, or these enemies use poison that apply drained or apply clumsy. Then you want to go bring the appropriate spell at the appropriate rank, often your highest rank, because it is counteract. You need it to be fairly high rank to work according to your level. Now, if we got some gold in our pocket, you got a lot of items. Got a lot of scrolls to buy, my friend. First off, Animus Mind is a fantastic wand. You can pre-buff an hour ahead of a fight, almost an hour ahead of time. So you're going to use this all the time. And mental effects are very common. Even anything that applies fear to you, frightened, which is super common, like monster roars and stuff, those are often still mental effects. So Animus Mind will detonate and hit the enemy. That's great. Scroll-wise, invisibility is good for exploration. Laughing Fit is a silver bullet for a tough reaction-heavy enemy. Stupefy counters casters. Revealing Light counters invisibility. Knock for opening tough doors. And False Vitality is one heck of a wand that you're going to use every morning, right? You might even want 2 or 3 of these. Between fights, just get a little more temp health. Sure, it's not a lot, but it's a little more temp health. It helps negate that first hit. I don't hate it. For us blaster enthusiasts out there, for us damage lovers, rank 2 is not bad for you. Animated Assault is your nice cheese grater spell. You hit an area, sustain it, and just keep doing reflex saves. Do a little bit of damage every round and add it up. It is an area of effect, so if you have multiple enemies in a choke point, you will rack up numbers. Loose Times Arrow is just a nice, simple spell. Give everyone a move. Great for when you get ambushed. Great when you all need to reposition or close for combat. Really useful. And Vomit Swarm is a solid reflex save. Reflex saves are very rare for the occult spell list. When you find one and it's good, you're going to want to use it. These are the rarest saves for your spell type. And this is good. The damage is okay, but it applies Sickened 1 on a fail, and that's great. Mixed damage plus debuffs? Hey, that's kind of the gold standard for the best kinds of attack spells, and hey, that's as good as you're going to get. For those with animal companions and familiars though, mostly witches for the occult list, you're going to take Thundering Dominance. You might want to upcast Thundering Dominance later on too. Just consider you'll always want this. It's incredible damage. Good scaling, Frightened 1, what's not to like? This spell kicks butt. It's super good. For those less direct damage inclined though, Laughing Fit is definitely going to be an inclusion. Slowed 1 off sustain and turning off reactions, that's really good, dude. If you run into fighters, hydras, trolls, this spell is your favorite. It's your MVP. It really, really is. Revealing Light is also a great pick. AoE Dazzled is good in any fight, and if there is an invisible or concealed enemy, just pop them with this and the fight's going to be wrapped up real easy. Vomit Swarm is nice. It's nice to have a debuff and attack at the same time, and even a controller, even a strategist wants a little bit of punch sometimes. And of course, if you're a witch, go take Thundering Dominance. We covered it. You want it. Take it. Now, when you hit higher levels, when you get to about level 7 and second rank spells aren't really cutting it for power anymore, what do we pick? Consider Animus Mind. It's a great pre-buff. It's extra effects, extra damage. I mean, hey, you don't care about these spells, so things that just go off on their own are great. Invisibility is always worth picking because a single rank, it's a scouting spell or an escape spell. Someone sneaking in, the king's guards are going to arrest you. Well, go invisible. Run away. And Revealing Light never falls off. It always counters enemy stealth and invisibility effects, and Dazzled is always good. If one of these isn't to your preference, take Illusory Object though. Illusory Object is even better at rank 2 because it now feels real to the touch, and that's just nice to have. And now on to rank 3. We got some cool stuff at this rank. We really do. The damage spells are okay. But we do get access to some classic buffs and debuffs. Speaking of damage though, we got some interesting picks. Lashing Rope is a fascinating one. And pretty good at higher ranks too. This is a sustain spell that continues to strike enemies when you sustain it every round, but more importantly, it can trip enemies. And that's huge. The damage may fall off, but getting a trip attempt every single round, that can be huge. That's a lot of control and debuff packed into a single spell. For those with medicine as a skill, consider Organ Sight. Organ Sight is very useful because it's It essentially allows you to spend a recall knowledge action and get a massive buff to your attack damage. So if you make a lot of strikes, Organ Sight's the way to go. If you make a lot of strikes and have medicine specifically, this adds a ton of damage to you. And last, we have your basic Vampiric Feast. This is a fortitude save. You touch someone, well, you target someone, and you do a bunch of damage and you get some temp HP. Don't expect to get a ton of temporary health from this. It's kind of a nice bonus on the side. We get some pretty nice control spells at rank 3 as well. Gravity Well is an AoE force movement. You pull everyone in a zone into the center. That has some great uses, and as a bonus, anyone staying next to a cliff or the top of a roof, hey, just, pull them off. Anoric Mire and Sea of Thought are fascinating spells that fill the same niche. Note, Anoric Mire is stronger than Sea of Thought, but it requires 3 actions to cast instead of 2. So any class that has a really good use for its first action, you don't want it. You want Sea of Thought. So bards, don't touch this one. It is a will save, and it's a 20-foot burst of difficult terrain that also reduces the enemy's move speed if they fail their will save. Between the two of them, that is massive. The huge area means you can really tank the enemy's mobility and force them to waste entire turns just trying to trek through your mire to approach you. Sea of Thought is a fortitude save that does the same thing with a slightly smaller area. A little lower power, targets a different save. I would recommend keeping a scroll of Sea of Thought because 2 actions means you can spend 1 action to pull it out and 2 actions to cast it. If you're like, ooh, I really want to just slow down my enemies right now. This sounds great. You can't do that with the Mire, but you can do it with the Sea. We got a lot of buff options level 3 though. Like a lot. Clairvoyance is an interesting one. This isn't a combat buff. This is a role-playing one. It allows you to hear things far away from you. This is really good for spying on conversations. Is the Duke kicking you out of the room to talk to the diplomat? Yo, clairvoyance through the wall. Super, super nice for role-playing situations. As a result, maybe carry a scroll of it. Haste, though. Haste is your classic buff. You get an extra action to stride or strike every round. This is really, really valuable for action-hungry classes. Necromancers will love the extra movement. Maguses will love the extra movement so they can spell strike every round. Don't toss this onto things like Monk or Flurry Ranger. Yeah, it sounds nice for them to get an extra punch, but mathematically, I mean, they're already swinging a ton every round. It's not as valuable for them. This spell is okay at rank 3, unbelievably powerful at rank 7 when it becomes an area of effect and hits all of your party. Speaking of better at higher ranks, Heroism. It's pretty good at rank 3. A +1 to hit, skills, and saving throws is a fantastic buff, but if you want to hit multiple party members, you can cast Bless for a rank 1 spell for that +1 to hit. Heroism is really amazing at rank 6 and 9 when it becomes a +2 or +3 to all of those rolls. Then it's really just straight up busted good. Shared Invisibility is another scroll spell out of combat use. It lets you, well, sneak the whole party through an area. The whole team becomes invisible. Just try not to be too loud, okay? Time Jump is great. This is probably your best in combat spell, and is not for dealing any effects. Time Jump allows you to spend 1 action and immediately just move somewhere else. It lets you avoid reactive strike. It lets you avoid all reactions because time is frozen as you just jump away to safety. Positioning is key, and this spell is the god of positioning. And if your positioning fails anyways and you eat a critical hit, bring Wooden Double. This is a reaction that lets you just reduce an incoming critical hit by 25 points. 25 fewer points of damage? That's insanely good for a rank 3 spell as a reaction. Now, it's tough to fill your ranks with reactions at low levels. When you hit high levels, Wooden Double really pays out. This thing rules. And yet, Despite all that, when it comes to debuffs for the occult list, these are some of your best spells, believe me. Mind of Menace is an interesting one, being a fairly long-term buff that allows you to reactively debuff an enemy when they use a mental effect on you. This is generally better at higher levels when you can afford it as a wand or just have extra spell slots to burn. At normal, lower levels, Roaring Applause is a much better slam pick. This is Hideous Laughter, but better. This still is a will save sustain spell that causes Roaring Applause is a real slam dunk silver bullet. This is essentially just an upgrade to Laughing Fit, a will save spell that you have to sustain, and just like Laughing Fit, it removes reactions and slows your enemy if they fail the save. The reason it's better is this one also counts as a manipulate action, and notably triggers reactive strike from your martial buddies in the close combat. That can add up to a ton of damage, let me tell you. Shadow Projectile is another cool reaction you'll want to use when you're at higher levels. This one allows you, when an ally shoots a ranged attack at an enemy, as a reaction, you can also shoot a Shadow Projectile that will make the enemy flat foot, aka off guard, for your ally. Really good for things like gunslingers and rangers who otherwise might not have an off guard enemy. And your real power pick, Slow. Slow is a classic spell. It's a fortitude save that removes enemy action. So either slowed 1 for a round, and if they fail the save, they're slowed 1 for a minute. Notably, if you crit fail, if they get that natural 1 and get a crit fail, they are slowed 2 for a minute, at which point they are basically just out of the fight. It just kind of deletes them. Slow at rank 3 is okay. It's a nice anti-boss spell. It is okay. This spell really takes off at rank 6. At rank 6, Slow becomes a multi-target spell. Not technically an area of effect, but effectively one. And when you slam it out onto an entire encounter of guys, Slow is wildly powerful. Finally, a reprieve from buying a million items. Your gold's probably tapped from buying all those scrolls and wands at rank 1 and 2. So there's only a few we really need at rank 3. Their audience is pretty solid, because hey, you never know when you need to spy on someone, but you don't want to dedicate a whole spell slot to it, you know? Sea of Thought is optional. It's nice to have difficult terrain on command, but not necessarily needed. Mind of Menace is a great one. This allows you to frighten a foe when they use a mental effect on you. Very similar to Animus Mind, but it does frightened instead. It's a good wand for the same reason Animus Mind is. Mental effects are common, and being able to hit enemies without using your actions is very nice. And Shared Invisibility is a great scroll. Definitely pick up one of these. You never know when you want the whole gang to be unseen as they move through something. This might let you skip an encounter or avoid an awkward conversation with your in-laws. You never know. For us damage aficionados, though, rank 3 is not the best. Lashing Rope is definitely what you're going to want to take. The sustained hit or trip every round is really good. The strike is okay. It's really about that trip every single round. That is wild. And Force Barrage at rank 3 is probably your best pick. Rank 3 Force Barrage, I mean, hey, you fire twice as many missiles. That's 6 missiles for 3 actions, 64 plus 6. It's pretty good. When you consider there's no saving throw and no missing, that really lets you just finish off guys in peace. And Sea of Thought is still worth taking. You want a little bit of control, and a burst of difficult terrain with reduced move speed, that's about as good as you're going to get. Whereas us tactically minded, you're going to want rank 3 Fear. Upcast your Fear spell. It now targets 5 enemies on a will save and frightens everyone. What's key is when you target a crowd of enemies, and especially if there's that many enemies, they're probably kind of low level or at your level at best with some minions. the chance of them critically failing is huge, because you're rolling 5 times. Someone's going to roll a 2. Someone's going to roll a 2 or a 3, you know? And then they're hit with a Frightened 4 plus Fleeing. You're going to see some huge results from AoE Fear. Roaring Applause is another great pick. Pick this in particular if you have a fighter on the team. Anyone with Reactive Strike gets extra swings because Roaring Applause is identical to Laughing Fit, except it also triggers Reactive Strike, also known as Attack of Opportunity, and that's extra attacks from the party. You're gonna rip through that enemy. And last, Time Jump, safety first, protect yourself out there. When the enemy gets to you, the brave run away instantly without risking any reactive strikes. Bring Time Jump. And when you hit high levels, you'll note I really only recommend swapping out many of your spells at level 11. Third rank spells scale a lot better than rank 2, so they generally stay useful for longer. But by level 11, you really don't need these things, so consider bringing Mind of Menace. It's a will save, and it lets you frighten an enemy. That's great. It's a good long-term buff to blast someone. And then bring Time Jump and Wooden Double. Repositioning and reducing critical hit damage never goes out of fashion. It'll keep you alive in all sorts of situations. A well-played caster can often be harder to kill than a martial. Sure, armor and a shield is nice, but what if you just aren't there to get hit? So, there's your ranks 2 and 3 spells. If there's something in here that you are like, generic, that spell sucks, let me know. And if there's something I missed, hey, let me know, and let everyone else see it as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and we're moving on to ranks 4 and 5 now. This is where the good stuff is. This is where Occult kind of pops off. So let's get to it. Be sure to subscribe and like the video if you feel like it. I certainly would be appreciative. But hey, see you on the next one.